Hey, what's up, everybody? It's your girl, Dr. Rhonda M. Lawson, and I am back. It's another week. I know I was MIA last week as I had some things going on, and I went out to the tennis tournament and everything. And by the time I got back, I was like, okay, this isn't going to work, and I didn't get to schedule things the way I wanted. So I said, I'm not just going to just do a halfway show. I want to be able to do the full show. So we are back this week, and I am so excited because right now I have Miss Tasha Nicole with me, and I absolutely love this one. We met when I first moved back to New Orleans back in 2016, actually. 20. Well, I moved there in 2016. I met her in 2017, and she's just doing some amazing things in New Orleans. She is a philanthropist. She's a poet, and she is a very successful entrepreneur who has been invited to Shark Tank a few times. So we're gonna we're gonna talk a little bit about that as well. But I just want to introduce to some and present to others Miss Tasha Nicole. How are you, ma'am?
I'm good. How you? I'm so happy to be here finally because we talked back and forth about me coming on your show, and I'm
Yes,
finally.
yes, I'm so happy you are here. I was excited, and oh, my next guest was asking a question. No, I was excited when you're like, well, I need to get you on the show. I think you were on my show once before, a long time ago, right?
I was when you was on the West Bank.
Yes, yes. Yeah, I remember that. That was back when I was with the New Orleans Talk Network. And
Yeah,
yeah, just before COVID happened, I decided to take a little bit of a hiatus, and I thought I was going to come back, and then COVID happened. So I said, okay, well, I guess I'll be doing it from home now, and I've been doing it from home ever since. But I'm enjoying doing it this way. It's just nice and comfortable and cozy, and I get to reach out
right.
to so many more authors this way.
Yeah, it is. I'm so proud of the growth you've had over the years because
Thank
watching
you.
you do is amazing. Watching you help all these authors and just it's been amazing watching your growth.
Oh, thank you so much for saying that. I appreciate it. Sometimes when you're in it, and you know yourself, when you're in it, you don't see it. But then it
Yeah,
takes somebody to come along and say that they've been seeing you. And that's really, I think, the great thing. It's like today, somebody posted that they needed an editor. And somebody recommended me. And I didn't even know she knew I was editing. So that for me, um that was that reminder that I need to keep doing what I'm doing because people are watching
right.
even if they don't always say something.
Yeah. I tell my kids that all the time. It don't matter what you do, somebody's always watching. Even if you don't think people are paying attention, people are paying attention.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I've been paying attention to you, ma'am. So I don't even know where to get started. I guess maybe we could start with the poetry first because I believe that's what you did first.
Yeah. Mhm.
Okay, so
Yeah.
what inspired you to get into poetry?
I started writing poetry when I was 11. That was a way for poetry was my therapy. I tell people all the time, poetry helped save my life because during that period when I started writing, I didn't have any inspiration like um different poets that are well known. Because when I got to high school, people would always ask me, "Have I ever read this poet or that poet?" And I just started writing. It's a gift I was blessed with. Um, and I started writing as a way to vent my frustrations about being sexually abused
Mm,
and nobody's doing anything to protect me. And I felt like poetry became my safe place because I was always able to grab my pen and my paper and just write out everything I was dealing with during that time. So being sexually abused is what led me to start writing poetry.
now, it's kind of sad that you said it, but it's a wonderful thing that you found an outlet for it because you were
Yeah,
able to take that frustration and do something positive with it. And there are so many
right.
young ladies who go through this and they don't have a positive outlet. Do you think
Right.
maybe you were helping people without at first realizing you were helping people?
Well, that's actually why I decided to do a book. I think it was in 2010, 2011, somewhere around that time when I first stepped on a stage in New Orleans to do spoken word because I never used to, let people hear my poetry or whatever. It was just for me. It was something
Right.
um private. And one day I just woke up. I had a high school teacher. She told me, because we used to have to journal in her class when I was in high school, and we had to share our journals in class. That was part of our class assignments. And she told me one day that I should be an author. She was like, "You could write a book." She was like, "Your writing is so, good," and I had never had crossed my mind to become an author. And one day I woke up and I just sat on the side of my bed and I thought about, I'm not the only person that's gone through what I've gone through. So
Yes.
many people don't have a voice. They feel like they're silenced and nobody's gonna listen to them. I felt that way too, and I was like, well, you know what? Let me put what I went through out there to help others who are either going through the same thing, have been through the same thing, and let me help them find a voice. So that's why I decided to go public, because sexual abuse in families is especially in our community is a big thing that's always swept under the rug. And I grew up in a time where what goes on in my house stay in my house,
Mm-hmm.
you know.
Yeah,
So I
and
decided to
you don't want
share it and put it out
you
there.
don't want to accept the help. I mean, I had one time a young lady who told me that she was being sexually abused by her stepfather, and I reached out to the mother because I knew the mother. I thought we were close enough. I said, if you need somebody to talk to, told me this is a family issue. I don't want to talk about it. I left it alone. But
Yeah.
sometimes I think we want to put ourselves out there, to be a support, but then we get shut down because, as you say, what goes on in the house stays in the house, and sometimes they get the help, sometimes they don't.
Yeah. And then when you're the one exposing that type of thing, you're the one that's ousted. You're
Right,
considered the problem, because you just don't tell family secrets. But it's like, if nobody ever speaks up, that's why they're able to do it for so long, because they, you know, have that hope that you're not gonna say anything.
right.
And for me, I've spoken up. I had spoke up several times, but it was like, keep your mouth shut.
Mm. It's-
And I was just like, I'm tired of keeping my mouth shut. And it came with coming out and sharing that with the world. It came with a lot of backlash from family, and that's just something I was like, I knew it was gonna be part of it, but I'm like, this is my truth, you know. I'm like, nobody was trying to help me back then, so I'm gonna do something to help others now. And I remember I spoke at an event one year, and I did one of my spoken word pieces called Boogeyman. And after the event was over, one of the servers that was serving us, he walked over to me, a guy, he was in his late 50s, and he asked me, could he give me a hug? And I thought that was strange, but I was like, yeah. And this man broke down crying on my shoulder. And
Mm,
he said it's like looking through my bedroom window, because he experienced what I experienced. Now I knew I would reach a lot of women, but the amount of men that I reached when I published my book and when I started speaking at events and doing portrait events, it was just mind blowing to me how many young guys and older guys had experienced sexual abuse as well. And
right.
it's
And you think
often
that we're hiding?
times a family member or somebody close in the family.
Right. You think sometimes because that we're hiding it as young women, young girls,
Right.
but there are so many men who suffer in silence because they're
Yeah.
ashamed. They think that people are going to think certain things about them, or they're going to be called weak. So they don't say anything. And often many of these men are it's kind of a double sword. Don't want to tell that they're being assaulted by women because that sounds weak and people are going to make fun of them. Oh, you enjoyed that.
Right.
And then if they come out and say it was a man who sexually molested me, now they're being called names. So it's like they don't have anywhere to turn, so they keep it inside.
Yes. Yeah. And it's just a shame that you have to worry about that, because oftentimes the people who go through it, I don't like the word victims,
Right.
The survivors who go through it, they're the ones that's blamed for it. I was 11 and 12 years old being told I probably did something. I probably wanted it. What 12-year-old want to be harassed and sexually assaulted by somebody that they look at as almost like a stepdad?
Right.
You know, it's like, how did I ask for it? Because I was even told I, asked for it. And it's just like, I'm a child. He's the adult. What could I have possibly done to make this man feel like it was okay for him to do this to me for all those years? And I'm the problem. So yeah.
Yeah. And it's a sad thing, and it's why even adults often don't want to come out. I mean, I used to be a sexual
Right.
assault victims advocate, and there were young women who would come forward to say that they had been sexually assaulted. But when everybody else, when the other soldiers around them found out, often they blamed her or told her she had asked for it. She shouldn't have dressed that way. She shouldn't have hung out with them. She was stupid. And many times they sided with the alleged perpetrator without
Yeah.
even finding out the facts. So I understand what you're saying. I used to see it all the time.
Yeah. And it's like even in with some certain members of my family, even knowing that this man is a pedophile, because I wasn't the only one he did it to or tried it with, but as far as I know, I was the one he did it to the longest.
Right.
But even knowing that, he's still considered cool. He's still a part of the family. And it's like, and I'm sitting over here and, you know, doing what I do on my end. But it's like, how you cool with a sex offender? Because that's what he is.
Hmm.
He hasn't been labeled as one by law, but that's what he is. And why is it that comfortability there for you to remain, in the presence, in the company of somebody that is like that?
Right. Right. It's sad. And you said you wrote a book about this. Was it a poetry book?
Yes, it's the book of poetry. This is titled "Smoke and Mirrors," and I actually dedicated it to my mom. After her death, a lot of things became so much more clearer to me, because growing up in a household where certain things was allowed, certain things wasn't talked about, being verbally, mentally, emotionally abused. Um, my mom died when she was 49, 2 weeks after her 49th birthday.
Mm.
And I believe I was 32 when she passed. My mom got married when she was 13 to my dad, who was 26. And by the time she was 17, she had four of us. So
Mm.
the mother in me now understands that that little girl inside of her that never had a chance to be a little girl
Right.
was still trapped in an adult's body. Um, and I really feel now that she did the best that she could with what she had, what she was given. None of the adults in her life protected her. And I really feel like my generation, I know in my household, it was like we were raised out of trauma, because that's all she had her entire life was trauma. Because how trauma for a 13-year-old to marry an adult man, and by the time she's 17, she got four children.
Right. So she
That's a
doesn't
lot.
know anything but trauma.
Exactly. Exactly. So that's a lot. So there's the book is titled Smoke and Mirrors, and it's a piece up in there that led me to write this book. I penned that piece first. I was laying down half sleep, and something came on TV, and the lady was saying about how much she loved her baby. So it wasn't an option for her to have an abortion, and that woke me up out my sleep. And I
Mm.
sleep with pen and pad by my bed, because I never know when something is gonna hit me. And I remember one day my mom stood to my face and she told me she hated me, she should have aborted me, and I just started
Mm.
writing. And then Smoke and Mirrors was born. But
Mm-mm-mm.
in the piece, it explains, all the things that my mom went through, and she couldn't throw it at my dad anymore because she left him. So the closest thing to her was her children. So we got the brunt of everything. So my poetry is very expressive of not just the trauma that I went through, but it's also me overcoming it as well, and seeing certain things through my mom's eyes later on in life. Because as a child, of course, as a teenager, as a young adult, I felt like why she didn't protect me, why she allowed this. And I'm like, for her, those things was normal because we had a conversation about the fact that I was molested by he was her boyfriend then, but then he became her husband. And
Yeah.
she told me she understood what I was going through because my grandmother had three boyfriends that had sexually assaulted her. And she said, so I know what that's like. And she looked me in my face. She said, but that man paid my bills and you don't. So what you want me to do? And that
Mm,
devastated me. I was 27, but I'm like, for her, she was always in survival mode. That's
right.
all she knew. She was always in survival mode. So instead of being angry now, I done found peace with it, and I try to go around talking to as many people as I can about sexual assault, and even encouraging them to, if you don't feel like you could talk to somebody, write, because writing really helped save my life. I was suicidal, I was depressed all the time, and writing was my outlet.
Do you still sell the book?
Yes, it's available. Actually, it's available on my website at silkstations.net, and it's also available on Amazon, Barnes and Nobles, all the platforms you could purchase it on online. But
Wow.
if they order it from my website, they get a signed copy, and I personally mail it out to them.
Okay. So, do you don't happen to have a copy of the book with you, do you? There it is.
There it is. And look, I even put pages so they could connect with the book. They could write in the book. And at the end of each chapter, it has a section that's it asks you your reflection. So what did you get um from that span of poetry and short stories in this chapter? And you can write down, you can journal in the book.
And what's the name of the book?
Smoke and Mirrors, the truth behind the lies.
That's beautiful. That's deep, first of all. I love it. Now,
Thank you.
when people go to your website, they're going to see something else on there. So, what's this business you have going on? What is Silk Stations?
Oh, Silk. Okay, so Silk Stations, I created Silk Stations. I launched it in 2017. I was a hairstylist for 17 years and my body started attacking itself. Didn't know what was wrong with me. Doctor visit after doctor visit. In 2014, I was diagnosed with a rare blood disorder. They found a blood clot the size of a lemon in my liver, and they said it had been there
Mm,
because half of my liver was hadn't turned white, and they thought I was gonna die because nobody could figure out what I had. They ended up having to fly in two specialists to New Orleans to figure out exactly what type of blood disorder that I had, and they found out that I was actually born with it. Why it decided to attack me, don't know. In 2016, um I was in a wheelchair, not permanently, but I was in a wheelchair because it got harder and harder for me to stand. It was more painful, and I couldn't walk far distances. I used to couldn't stand for longer than 5 minutes
mm.
by 2016 without being in excruciating pain. And they told me um, I was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis, a brain disease, and I was diagnosed with something called trigeminal neuralgia. It's a nerve disorder, and they said the combination of my brain disease and my blood disorder, I mean the multiple sclerosis, caused it. And they for short they called it the suicide disease, and they said I had the worst case they had ever seen.
Wow.
And they said if I was still alive in 2018, because in 2016 they gave me 5.5 years to live, and they said that was stretching it. They was like, we ran the test 5 times, and it was like there's no way around it. So by 5.5 years, if you make it that long, they said by 2018 you'll permanently be in a wheelchair. And I was like, I'm not ready to die. Y'all not about to confine me to no wheelchair. My children still in school, so I'm sitting there talking to God, and I'm like, we got to figure something out because there is no way I'm gonna sit up here and let these people tell me I'm gonna die, and then I'm gonna lay down and die. That's not about to happen. And
Exactly.
I wrote myself in my bathroom, looked at all my products. I didn't know why I was in there, but I'm praying, talking to God, and I'm in the bathroom looking at these products, and I started looking at the ingredients in them, and I started researching them and realized how harmful the majority of the ingredients are in these products. And being a hairstylist, I'm like, I went to hair school. I know, everything that you put on your skin, it absorbs into your bloodstream. I have a blood disorder. Let me
That's
start
something
working on
people
trying
don't
to
think
save
about.
my life. So I ended up creating my own hair and skincare products, and they worked so well. People started asking me where I selling them, and I started selling them. And Walmart came knocking. I was a Walmart retailer for a year, and I pulled my products because they wanted me to change my formulations, and I'm like, I will not. I created this product to help save my life, and I'm not allowing anyone to get their hands on it and have me change it for no dollar amount because I'm
Right.
no longer in a wheelchair. So I'm just like, and my health has improved a lot. So I'm just like, nah, I'm not about to let anybody touch that and change it when I know it works the way that I'm doing it with all natural and organic ingredients, and a lot of my main ingredients comes from Ghana. So it's the real deal. And I'm like, no, I'm not
Yes.
about to allow anyone to change it. And that's how Sensations was born.
Yeah. So I don't know if you can see it, but I have your website on the screen.
Mm-hmm.
So all of your ingredients are all natural. And I heard you say that you import your ingredients from Ghana. I love the shea butter from Ghana. I mean, when I
Me
look for
too.
when I look for shea butter, I specifically look for it to be from Ghana.
Yes. And that's one of the reasons when it comes to my body butters, because everyone asks me my body butter. There's like, it feels so silky, it feels like velvet. And it's like trial and error because some of the other body butters, the other shea butters I used to use in my products, they just did not, because a lot of those shea butters, especially if you buy them out the health store, they strip that of all its nutrients. So I mean, even if it's shea butter, it's just not giving you what it's supposed to give. So I make sure I use the best quality ingredients in my product.
Wait, now who is this lady right here?
Oh, you talking about Miss Tabitha Brown? Tab time?
Yes.
Tab was an ambassador for Silksations for an entire year before she started her own hair care line. And she made
Yes.
it known that Silksations products, especially my curl and defining cream, was her favorite product. And
Mm.
she used it all the time. So she promoted my product. She actually crashed my website 3 times.
I remember
Promoting my
when she
product.
mentioned it, when she mentioned it on her site, and I remember how excited you were, and that's like, all right, you're blowing up.
Cause it woke me up out my sleep. Everybody calling my phone, texting my phone. I'm like, what's going on? And my website keep dinging. It's like Tabitha Brown talking about your product, and I'm like, what? Yes, she was.
You cannot
Yes,
be
she was.
mad at
I
that.
need, she said, I need you to make a flyer and tell people I love your product. She said, especially your curl and defining cream. And that was before she started her own line. And people would ask her, what do you use on your hair? And I always seen her promote it like Silksations. I use Silksations. I love Silksations. And I'm like, that's pretty cool.
See, I'm mad because I'm gonna have to go ahead and send you my picture. I use Silksations too. See, but no, congratulations. That is awesome.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Kiana Mitchell Washington says the best hair care products. She absolutely loves it. And then she said that the hair growth butter and shampoo are her favorite.
Oh, thank you. That's one of my favorite silkies right there. Her and her all of her children are silkies. And I have a lot of parents, even dads that purchase silk stations, and the parents when they buy the products, they gotta purchase it for their children as well. Because they say the children use the products more than they do. So I have so many families where the entire household globally, my silkies are global, and the entire household are silkies. And I mean, I absolutely love it. I'm like something that I handcraft in my kitchen.
Yeah.
People from all over the world are buying and they're telling everybody how much they love it. So that
And
means so
I've
much to
seen
me.
I've seen you making your products because you used to record while you were making your products, and it's the real
Yes.
deal. You know, the whole pot, and we're watching you
Yes.
stir it on, and it's nice
Yes.
and creamy. It's the real deal.
Yes. I make it myself, and I've been told several times get a manufacturer. I've tried that with 20. They're the same way that the big box stores was. They want me to change the formulations, and I'm like, y'all don't even know my formulation. So how you know I need to change them? That's because they want to give me the same thing that they have on the store shelves because
Yeah,
almost all the products in the stores have the exact same ingredients. So when people try one product after another and they say it don't work, Silk Stations work for your natural hair, even if you're 4C and you get results instantly. It works great for your skin, for hyperpigmentation. Most mothers who are pregnant, expecting mothers, they use it and they never get stretch marks. I mean, my products are really the real deal.
that is awesome. So I put the website back on the screen, www.silkstations.net. And we didn't, I know we're running close to the end of time, but we didn't really get to talk about your philanthropy with Poetry in Motion Care Bears. So um, can we have a minute where you can tell us a little bit about that?
Okay, so Portrait in Motion Care Bears is a organization, a nonprofit that I started because I was born chronically ill. And when I was in the hospital one time at Charity Hospital, they had this mom came in to visit her daughter. She brought her daughter this beautiful baby doll, and I was laying up there by myself. She left the room, came back, and gave me a stuffed animal. She gave me a teddy bear. I had to be like 7 years old, and I never forgot that. And one night I just kept having all these dreams about Care Bears. And I'm like, why I keep dreaming about these Care Bears? And it dawned on me the way that lady made me feel while I was in the hospital is the way I wanted other children to feel. So I just got some poets and some artists together and from different states, and I contacted Children's Hospital, asked them could we show up to give our stuffed animals and gift bags to the children, and they told us yes. So we made that a regular thing a couple of times a year, and then I started doing a program called Dream for a Day, where I give terminally and chronically ill children their dream for a day. And I had an event called Balling for Life Cancer Fight, where we would play flag
Yes.
football and raise money for kids. So
Well,
yeah.
how can people find more information about Poetry in Motion Care Bears?
They could follow me on Facebook under Tasha Nicole because I hadn't done it in a couple of years because I've been really sick with my own things, but I'm in the work getting it back going so I could start doing it because I get so many people ask me about it. People who used to participate, like, we missed your organization, you need to bring it back. So I'm actually currently working on bringing it back.
Well, congratulations. I'm a supporter, so all you have to do is tell me the word, and I got you.
Yeah.
But
And I appreciate it, honey.
no problem. But thank you for coming on the show tonight and
Thank you
sharing
for
your
having
story.
me.
It's not a very easy story to share, but I'm thankful that you have shared it because it shows other people that they don't have to suffer alone and they don't have to suffer
Exactly.
in silence.
Right.
Um, well, you enjoy the rest of your evening. Like I said,
Say for the
congratulations.
rest of the show.
Thank you. And congratulations on all you're doing. God bless you.
Thank you.
All right, so that was Miss Tasha Nicole, poet. She is an author. She is the CEO of Silk Stations and the CEO of Poetry and Motion Care Bears. So let's give her a hand, y'all. Yay! All right, you have a wonderful evening, Tasha.
You too.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so next in the queue is Miss M.D. Kirkley. I think she was having a little trouble with her camera, so we're about to see. Can you hear me, Mary?
I can definitely hear you. I have no idea why I can't see you though.
That's strange. Yeah, I mean, so you can't see me either?
No, you can I can see you, but you can't see me. And I don't want to run over my time, so I'm wondering if it'll be okay. Can I just log back out and try to log back in from a
Sure,
different?
go ahead and log
Okay,
out and log back in.
thank you.
Yeah, no problem. All right. So while Miss Mary is getting that together, I just want to announce this really great thing that I have going on right now. Hey, what's up, y'all? It's your girl, Dr. Rhonda M. Lawson, and I am hereby taking away every excuse you have for not starting that book you keep telling your friends you're going to write one day. Don't have time? I'm about to give you the strategy. Don't know where to start? I've got the inspiration. Don't want to pay for a class? Child, it's free. Starting August 23rd, I'll be hosting a 5-day masterclass, especially for fiction writers. As a 23-time published author, you know fiction is my jam, and I want to give you the tools to finally make your dream story a reality. Just click the link in my bio. I'm waiting. Let's get started. Y'all, that was my 5-day masterclass that I have coming up August 23rd, and I want you guys to be a part of it. Feel like you know it all, hey, more power to you. Go ahead and share with somebody who you wish had that knowledge. But if you are an author and you want to brush up on your skills, or maybe you want to write your own book one day and you need some help doing it, that's what this masterclass is all about. I want to help as many people as possible become published authors this year. So the link is right here on the screen, www.mtwimagesolutions.com/masterclass, and you can get more information. You can sign up. Like I said, it's absolutely free, but you help in order to get this knowledge. So I think Miss Mary is back. Mary?
So I don't have any idea why it's not working. I can see you. Unfortunately, no one can see me.
We're gonna roll with it anyway. It's gonna be all right. It's gonna be quite all right. So don't worry. So thank you on the show. I know this is actually our first time meeting, so I appreciate you agreeing to be on the show so I could interview you.
Definitely. Thank you for the opportunity.
Oh, no problem at all. Now, I was reading up on your bio, and you mentioned that you are a multi-genre author. Can you talk a bit about that?
So I am a cross-genre writer. I am a firm believer I write what God tells me. I right now I have romance, I have smut, but I'm writing a realistic fiction called A Child Named Poverty. I have a couple fantasy series. One is all melanin oriented. I have another one that is biblically based. I have a couple thrillers and horrors coming down the line as well.
Oh, wow. So you really are cross-genre. You're writing everything.
Yes, ma'am. Well, I feel like when you look at life, life is like a multi-dimensional aspect, right?
Yes.
So I don't see, it's not for me to say that I want to stay in just like one area. So I grew up in poverty. For me, it was an aspect of saying I was always made the comment I was so poor that I couldn't afford the box of life. So my life is kind of gathered from the pieces
Mhm.
people left behind. So understanding that for me, it's a aspect of saying I write what I see. Like when I write, it plays like a movie.
Gotcha. So do you feel like you just get your inspiration anywhere? If you see a story that looks like it's interesting to write, that's what you're going to write?
No, actually, it's so funny. I will say when I wrote Milk, Milk is a 4-book series,
Mhm.
and when I finished the first one, I actually got Purple Honey the next day. When I told myself I was done with it, when I closed it, that was it for me. Wrote, I started writing Purple Honey. I wrote Purple Honey in a week. When I was done with Purple Honey, he gave me A Child Named Poverty. And A Child Named Poverty is based on the dichotomy between a mother and a son. I have 4 boys, and I look at my relationship with him and how he's grown up and the things I've had to like strip from self for him to be, better. So I started off with Milk. I went to Purple Honey. Purple Honey is a 10-book novella series. And A Child Named Poverty has been the hardest book I have written thus far.
So let's dive into these books. Let's start with Milk. What is Milk about?
It It's really an everyday story. It talks about the general relationship between female and a male, and best friends and an ego trip. But it also embarks on the aspect of females not taking accountability for self, and the trauma that we typically leave on men. It
Mm.
goes into my favorite character in the book. Her name is Amber, and she has this concept where whatever her husband's desires are, they're her own in any aspect, and it turns into a thriller towards the end.
Mhm.
So it's an everyday, girl meets boy, boy best friend is jealous, best friend dies. It just it's an everyday moment, and then it kind of turns, and it makes anybody that's ever read it, they always say, "So you just left it like that." I always get the inbox of, "So you just left it like that," and I just laugh because it's a 4-book series. I didn't want it to stand alone. I wanted it so that you have to read all of them to get the whole story.
Okay, and all four of them are novellas.
No, so Milk is actually 100,000 words.
Oh wow.
Um, I kind of challenged myself in my writing. I wrote Milk in about 2 weeks. Um, and it took me from August of last year to put it out. I didn't put it out until January of this year. I'm a perfectionist. I feel like when you present yourself as best as possible. So, there's always going to be scrutiny regardless. So I kind of just make sure when I present, I'm okay with what I present. So Milk is 100,000 words. Purple Honey is 28. It has an audiobook. Through that process, I learned how to edit my own audiobooks. So the whole sound engineering aspect, Purple Honey comes, I always have to give people the warning. It's out the gate is so disrespectful. I can't listen to it. You don't listen to this book without headphones. You don't listen to this book in your living room.
You heard it here, folks. Oh, you heard it here. Okay. If you were going to listen to Purple Honey, make sure you have your earphones. Do not listen to it through the Bluetooth in your car, especially if your mama's in the car with you. That might be too much to do.
It's so bad. And I tell people that they're like, "So you're embarrassed about what you wrote?" And I'm like, "No, it just makes me blush." Um, I had someone tell me when they did my first interview on Purple Honey, they said it was the most educated, disrespectful, smutty book they've ever read.
Love that. I love
Chastity Cage, and what's funny is I write across ethnicities as well. I also write across gender roles as well. So I feel like it, and people always hate when I say it, but I've been Black my entire life. We all know what greatness that is. You've been your color your whole life. So creativity for me means that I want to stretch outside of myself. I'm not going to leave part of me outside. So no one says anything to, Miss Shonda when she did Grey's Anatomy, when she did Bridgerton. Like, it's an aspect of creativity. So Ginger is the main character in Purple Honey. She's a Caucasian Greek female with ginger hair. So it kind of shocked everybody when Chastity Cage rolled out, because Milk also only has a few African American characters. The main character in the book is an African American male. He is
it.
the epitome of what a man is supposed to be. He is a provider, protector, and professor. He expresses everything, anything, and nothing at all. He loves unconditionally. He's amazing. And his best friend's Caucasian, and things happen. Um, well, Chastity Cage came out the gate and is African American oriented. And it shocked a lot of people. The audiobook for that one's actually being done now. And Miss Raina Frazier she bodied the whole book. Like, she left no crumbs. Um,
Oh,
but what I did with this audiobook is I took Ginger from the first book and blended her with the second one. So the young lady, her name is Scarlett. She actually did the first one. I had her record the lines for Ginger in the second one.
okay.
So I've blended them. You'll hear the birds chirping, the alarm go off, the cars,
Oh,
the wind.
okay. A full experience.
Yes, yes.
I
You
love
get the You get the love, like you ever seen the shows where the love scene happens but the music plays in the background and it makes it so it makes it full, it makes
Yes.
it glorious. That's what the book does. So I have an entire playlist of sound scoring. I love the Chevalier, the movie that came on what was on Hulu. I love the
Hmm.
entire soundtrack, Bridgerton soundtrack from the Queen spinoff. I broke down this entire audiobook and filled it full of emotion. I filled it with the sounds. I made you feel it even if you couldn't see it. I always say I live life through a blind man's eyes.
Yeah.
You
Well,
can, it's a beautiful
let's talk
thing.
let's talk a little about that because I think some people may not appreciate all of the production value that goes into an audiobook. And often, I mean, I love audiobooks. I probably listen to audiobooks more than because I'm always on the go. So, but I like an experience, just like what you're describing. And sometimes I actually listen to an audiobook where I couldn't endure because the narrative was so bad. And so I don't think people always appreciate everything that goes into an audiobook. So I'm glad that you mentioned all of the value that you put into it. Was that an intentional thought process that you had when you started doing the audiobooks?
Most definitely. Ultimately, I feel like the life God has for me will be one of making movies. So I put my all into it. I love to stand out. Just because I'm an indie author does not mean that my work has to be always indie, just at the bare minimum. I know a lot of indie authors that actually put their all into their work. Mo Flame, Cher Therese, these Jonathan, these are people that actually put their all into their work. So when I looked at doing the audiobook, I wanted a challenge. And so I did that. Um, I wanted the music that was in the book, instead of writing it, you actually just hear it.
Yeah.
Instead of saying the birds were chirping, I wanted you to hear it, the alarm clock. I needed it to go off. I needed to layer it correctly. So I learned all of this. I actually took my I actually took my regular book and made it into a script. So you didn't get the same thing that you would have got if you just read it, if that makes any sense.
Or this in a studio?
So I mix it at home on my computers. Um, my son is he's going to school to be an engineer. He's going to school to be an aerospace
Ah,
engineer.
okay, okay.
So we sat
That's
here
that's
and we
a lot
learned
you
it.
can do it by yourself.
Yeah. Well, it's funny. I sat here and I learned it, and I had him check a couple things. He's only 18. He just turned 18. So I have a few degrees under my belt. So I love to learn things. The young lady who recorded it, she recorded it in the studio. She sent it to me, and then I go in, and so something that will take, I want to say a 3 hour, say Purple Honey was a 3 hour listen to. So if you took the time to actually listen to Purple Honey, it's 3 hours, or 2 hours and 55 minutes. It took me 3 weeks to edit that book.
Yes, of course.
So it takes an immense amount of time to actually edit it. And that's why I understand when people just do just narration. Because it's a lot of time. It was many nights that my son had to come in here and tell me to go to bed. Like, moms, you have to stop. Like, but I pour into my work, because if I don't invest in me, no one else will.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, one of the things I also wanted to talk with you about, as I was reading over your bio, was the special care you take, for lack of a better term, in developing your characters. So, I just how you draw on your ideas and how you come up with your characters, and what is the process for developing the characters for stories.
So I've been asked that question so many times. For me, it's an aspect of saying, um, it's like sitting down at a cafe and someone coming to sit beside you and they're auditioning for a part,
Yes.
and they're showing you their highlight reels, and then the other people that's involved in it come and they sit here and they show you the rest of the movie. That's literally how it plays out for me in my head. Like I have a line, and I for the lack of trying to not sound crazy, I have a line of people waiting in my head for their turn to sit down and talk to me. So I see this movie and I write it. I can never tell you verbatim what's in my book because I pour out. Like I will write and then I'll pause the movie. So it'll pause for me and I'll pick it right back up. I never have to reread what I just finished writing. I never have to go back to see where I was at. It's like just pressing play. It is definitely a gift. It is definitely what I do with the least amount of effort. I am forever grateful for this gift. I always write in my pictures, if you ever go to my social media, it says Dio Valiente, which means God's will. And the way that they are developed, I can tell you what they have on, the baritone of their voice, what they smell like, how the sun glowed on their face. It's different for me. And I write in a very cinematic presence. And people who have read it, they always say, I saw it like a movie.
Yes. Well,
So
and
character development is not the same. I'm
and
sorry.
that's a beautiful process. I often say that I like to ear hustle. I don't care really what people are talking about. Don't. I'm not going to go back and tell everybody what somebody said, but sometimes I like to listen because I like to hear the dynamic of the conversation, and it tells me a little bit about that certain person who's talking. Some one time I came up with a whole story concept just based on one sentence I heard a man say, and I was able to put my whole profile around that one sentence this man said because it was such a deep sentence. And
Oh,
so,
wow.
yeah, I totally feel what you're saying. Characters in your head. I mean, I have some characters in my head I've been meaning to put into a book for years, and I haven't gotten to them yet. So they're sitting in there waiting their turn, but they're
Yep.
coming.
Yeah, they wait their turn.
Right. So yeah, I love that thought process when it comes to writing. And speaking of processes, what is your writing process? Because you write in a number of different genres, and I think sometimes you might even combine the genres a little bit. What is your process when you get ready to write a story?
I don't actually have one. I'm such a non-traditional writer. I chase the art of it. I chase the creativity. When I get stuck, I'll stop writing and I'll say, God, can you grant me the words that I'm supposed to say? Allow me to tell the story correctly. Regardless of what I write, people, they may disagree because of the stuff that I've written thus far, but, um, God made everything good, bad, however you may feel about it. It's what I write, but I don't have an actual process. Like I don't brainstorm. I will write down key points. If there's a character that crosses over from another book, I
Mhm.
will highlight what they were in the other book, find the sentences, find the crossovers, and put them down. But I don't actually have a process. And it blows me mind when I say that because I write so fast. Um, I write so much. I ghost write for people. I stretch out people. Like if someone sends me a short story, I can make it a novella. Like I love to write. Writing to me is like breathing. I write on my phone. I prefer to write on my phone and not my laptop, not my iPad, not my computer. Like it's just I really prefer to be able to be able to access it at any point in time. When I actually sit down and I write, I will write 6 or 7 books at a time. So I have a few right now that I'm writing. I have origin stories for main stories. I have posts that I have to do, but then as I do a post, I'm like, oh my God, I can write this. And so I don't really have the traditional way of saying like this is my pattern. Like I don't plan out my story. I don't. And some people may think that's foolish, but I don't. I have
Well, it's not foolish. Everybody has a different way that they approach their work, and there's no one way to do it. There's no one right way to do it. But in the end, you just want to make sure that your story flows, that your characters make sense. And it sounds like you still put a lot of thought behind making sure your story is flowing, your plot lines make sense, your storyline makes sense, your characters don't fall flat. And so the your process in getting to that point is your process.
Oh yeah, most definitely. I agree with that. I know, for instance, the main character in Milk, his name is Arizona Run, and
Mhm.
it the name itself. I was listening to a Biggie song, and the story played through, and then this character developed. Well, for me, I also have to look at the character's backstory. So before I write on the paper, I know like what job they have, why their relationship ended, how many kids they have, what down to what's their favorite cologne. But I don't write it down. It's stored for me. If I write something and it doesn't feel right, I'll delete it. It won't even stay. I remember when I was writing Milk, I deleted 86 pages at one time.
Mm.
Yeah. Yeah. My publisher, she almost had a heart attack. She's like, Mary, yeah, it
I can
doesn't work.
see why.
I always tell people I don't write for profit. I write for the joy of it. I have to tell the stories. It's a lineage aspect. It's something that I can look back and say I did that. Whether you get good reviews, bad reviews, it's an aspect of I completed that. Like, I always wanted to be more than what they call you when you come from the hood. And I grew up in special education up into fifth grade, graduated high school with a 1.18 GPA, had a child early, but I didn't want to be poor anymore. I started journaling when I was young. It was an outlet. And as an adult, I've had the chance to study medicine in Barbados, Antigua,
Right.
Mumbai. I have a PhD in public health. I have an MBA with a 4.0. It's not what they call you, it's what you answer to. And my writing is that for me as well. It's more than just, okay, well, I picked up the paper and I wanted to write a love story. I wanted I wanted to explore different worlds. And
And
that's what that was for me.
I'm here for it. I am here for it. So what's next for you?
A Child Named Poverty, I actually have two directors looking at it without even reading the book, based off of the synopsis of it. I met one at this past weekend, and I have another one. He's been following me since Milk. And when I told him what poverty was, and I mean, he's done shows for he's recorded for HBO, Amazon Prime. His name is Danny. He's on my page all the time. He's amazing. I'm forever grateful for it. But I really want to make a movie. I want to really break into that field, and learn and teach others how to get there. I am such a selfless person. But next we'll drop A Child Named Poverty, and then if the Lord allows me, I'll drop the Forever series. The first book is called Alchemy. The second one is called The Forever's the Forgotten, and it speaks on slavery from a fantasy perspective. Journey to Elysium is an aspect of Journey to Inner Peace. It's a really different spin on. It's making the Bible a way that it's an atypical way of viewing the Bible. It's they live on a planet called Serenity. They are journeying to a place called Elysium. Elysium means body. She has a guardian angel named Uriel. He's an archangel. And her name is Lux, which is light. So he's the guardian of light on the planet of peace, journeying into inner peace.
Okay, deep thinker.
I
Oh,
just I put a lot of work into what I put out.
I see. I see. And I'm not mad at it. I'm very much here for it. I love interviewing authors who take the craft seriously and who are not just looking at it as a side hustle or
Yeah,
just a way to make some money. That they actually put their all into their art because writing is an art.
it
So
is.
yeah, so that's why I'm really enjoying talking with you and just learning about everything that you put behind your work.
I always tell people Stephen King wasn't Stephen King until he became Stephen King. So I move as if everybody knows my name because God knows my name. So I move as if everybody else already knows it. I do limited edition books. I do giveaways. I do book boxes. I will partner with you on things. The young lady that you had up here before me, I stayed for a part of the interview, and I was so intrigued. I'm actually going to reach out to her for her Care Bear project. I love all things humanitarian. I have a book over coming up. Like I said, I grew up, in poverty, so I never had a sleepover. So I'm doing a sleepover for authors, podcasters, content creators, you name it, it's going to be there, but it's invite only. It's an all expense pay weekend. And you're going to get to dress up as a princess. I'm providing everything, pajamas with your name on it, a chef for the weekend. You're going to do three-legged races. Like, I am super excited for it because I never had it. And when you're done, there's going to be a major prize at the end. I partnered with Sip and Read, Nikki and Sarita, and they are just so overjoyed to be able to be a part of it. So I have an entirely different Instagram page for the book over. And then last night, me and my publisher decided that we want to do a conference, and we're going to make it nonprofit. So it's actually called the Eden Legacy Literary Affair. So I'm really excited to announce that. So I have a lot coming up.
Well,
And
I
I'm
heard you
ever
say that
grateful.
it's invite only. So if somebody's listening and they want to be a part of it, is it not possible to be a part of it?
So we will start picking people. For instance, the young lady that was here before me,
Mm-hmm.
I'm big on humanitarian. She would be the type of person I would pick. Once you're picked, it's going to be scavenger hunts that you'll have to do to show the kid in you, like going to the library, finding the kid book, taking a picture with it, attending a story time, like stepping outside of your comfort zone, understanding the innocence that's still within you. So it is an aspect where you can't buy your way in. It is not an aspect where you're selling any books. It is a pampered princess weekend. I will have massages. I will have, I don't drink personally, but I will have multiple types of mimosas. I have chefs coming in for the weekend. It is a Thursday through Sunday event. You bring nothing but you. I mean, I really am providing everything down to undergarments. Like, I'm providing everything for the event because I need you to know I need you to know that someone else sees you. So I can't be the only woman in the world or only person in the world that's been through this. So I'm been put in a very good position that I can do something like this. So I'm fully committed to it. I'm really excited about it.
I'm excited for you. That's a beautiful event, and it's a great way to, just like you said, help people to see that they are seen.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you.
Well,
Yeah.
well, congratulations on that. I'm going to put your website on the screen, theuncoveredveil.com.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
let's make sure that we support this wonderful author who has a plethora of books to offer you.
Thank you so much. And thank you for having me on your show. It was a
Oh,
wonderful experience.
well, no, thank you for agreeing to be on the show, and I hope that this isn't the last time we talk. Let's make sure that we stay in touch, and any way I can
Yeah,
support, I am here.
definitely. Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Thank you. You enjoy the rest of your evening.
You too as well. Thank you.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you. Bye bye. All right, so there you have it. Another episode of the Horizons Author Lounge. Please don't forget about the 5-day masterclass. Thank you so much, Marva. Don't forget about the 5-day masterclass. In case you missed it earlier, here are the details.
Hey, what's up, y'all? It's your girl, Dr. Rhonda M. Lawson, and I am hereby taking away every excuse you have for not starting that book you keep telling your friends you're going to write one day. Don't have time? I'm about to give you the strategy. Don't know where to start? I've got the inspiration. Don't want to pay for a class? Child, it's free. Starting August 23rd, I'll be hosting a 5-day masterclass especially for fiction writers. As a 23-time published author, you know fiction is my jam, and I want to give you the tools to finally make your dream story a reality. Just click the link in my bio. I'm waiting. Let's get started.
All right, there you have it. the 5-day masterclass. I want you guys to be a part of it. This is going to be an experience. You're actually going to walk away with something. And I know sometimes you've seen master classes or free courses where they teach you for about 2 seconds and then the rest of it is pitching something to you to get you to buy. No, you're actually going to learn something in this masterclass, and I would love to have you there. So if you'd like more information, make sure you message me, or you can go to the link, which is right here, and it's also in the comments, www.mtwimagesolutions.com/masterclass. But that is all we have for this week. Thank you once again for joining me. Thank you for helping me to make this show grow and continue to be a service to so many authors. This is what we do. If you have not been in the Author Lounge and you would like to be a part of the Author Lounge, just shoot me a message. Go to my website, www.mtwimagesolutions.com/work with me, and I will have all the information that you need about working with me or about being on the show. I want to meet you and I want to support you. So thank you guys for another great night in the Author Lounge. I will see you next week with 2 more amazing, amazing authors. Thank you.